Hello everyone, I'm Robin Cartoon, and I'm back. With its catchy and addictive melodies, Sprunki has become a phenomenon and is going increasingly viral across social media platforms. But it's not just famous for its captivating tunes. Sprunki has also gained popularity and sparked curiosity due to the incredibly dark story hidden behind its seemingly harmless facade. I've made plenty of gameplay videos on Sprunki, but I haven't done an analysis video yet, so there are still many missing details, especially the causes behind the deaths of the characters in Sprunki. That's why today, I'll be diving deeper into the game's story through the recently released Sprunki Analog Horror Series. I believe that after watching this entire Analog Horror Series, everyone will fully grasp the most disturbing events that unfold in Sprunki. And without keeping you waiting any longer, let's jump straight into the main content of today's video. Oh, but before we meet the Sprunkis, please hit that subscribe button down below. I'll say it up front, today's video is going to be extremely intense and terrifying. If you don't like or subscribe, be careful. The mutated Sprunkis might attack. Once you've hit that subscribe button, let's move on to today's video. Analog Horror Sprunki is a product of the Unfoxy YouTube channel. So before you watch my analysis, you should visit the Unfoxy channel to follow all the main developments of this Analog Horror series. At the start of episode 1, the editor of this footage reveals that his world has been infected by something terrifying. This thing has driven many creatures mad and bloodthirsty. No one knows what this disease is, but the first person to be infected was Simon. After 3 days of being infected, Simon's body undergoes extreme changes. Eventually, Simon is transformed into a form similar to the one in the horror mode version, as we already know. His eyes almost vanish, his teeth grow longer, and his mouth widens, looking extremely terrifying. And then, what had to happen, happened. After being fully transformed, Simon starts to go mad and attack others. The first unlucky victim of the monster Simon is his own friend, Brood. While Brood is trying to hide in the forest, Simon catches up with him, slowly appearing from behind Brood to attack him. You can see that the place where Simon attacks Brood is very similar to the injury that Brood sustained in the horror mode version. This is also the detail that explains the wound Brood suffered. In the original universe, however, there is a difference between the original version and the analog horror version when it comes to Brood's condition after being attacked by Simon. In the original universe, according to multiple sources, Brood seems to still be alive, even after Simon bites off a quarter of his face. But in the analog horror version, Brood most likely perishes after being attacked by Simon, because throughout the rest of the series, we don't see Brood make a return. At the end of episode 1, we find out why Simon attacks Brood so ruthlessly. The disease makes Simon always feel hungry, and this hunger changes Simon, turning him into a demon ready to eat even his friends. In episode 2, after Brood's death, the disease shows no sign of stopping. The next person to be infected is Wenda, the singer who suddenly goes mad and uses a knife to kill 3 other Sprunkis. The first victim is Oren, our beatboxer, who is torn apart by Wenda in a crazed state. In the end, Oren dies from blood loss. The second victim is Garnold, where Wenda uses a knife to cut Garnold's throat, directly causing his death. The third victim is Tunner. Although Tunner's death wasn't as painful as the other two, it was the most tragic. When Tunner witnessed Wenda's madness, he tried to protect everyone. But in a moment of carelessness, Wenda took Tunner's gun and gave the brave officer a bullet right between the eyes. The only one to survive Wenda's massacre is Lime. However, witnessing the entire killing process left Lime in extreme anxiety. To calm himself, Lime locked himself in a room. He felt safest when alone. But just when Lime thought he was safe, Ratty suddenly appeared. This caused Lime to go into a psychotic state, losing control of his actions. Lime grabbed a knife and furiously attacked Ratty, leading to Ratty's painful death. To explain why Lime panicked upon seeing Ratty, according to information from the original universe, Ratty once hit Lime in the head with a hammer, which caused Lime's current mental instability. So when Lime saw Ratty, the image from the past haunted his mind, causing him to panic severely. The attack on Ratty occurred subconsciously. And for Lime, it was just an act of self-defense. Not. Stopping there, when Lime saw Ratty lying motionless on the floor, his panic grew even stronger. He used the knife on himself, severely injuring his mouth, causing it to tear painfully. So, the entire sequence of episode 2 explains the deaths of 4 characters, including Oren, Garnold, Tunner, and Ratty. All 4 were killed by their own friends. The relationship between Ratty and Lime is easy to understand. Ratty's death could be seen as a consequence of what he did to Lime in the past. As for Wenda and the other 3 victims, it's different. Actually, from the start, Wenda was always envious of others. She killed Oren because Oren was Pinky's boyfriend, and Pinky was Wenda's rival in music. Garnell and Tunner may have been unintentionally affected by Wenda's attack, because, according to my research, Wenda didn't seem to have any conflict with these 2 characters. Moving on to episode 3. After killing Oren, Wenda chased after the person she hated the most, Pinky. Pinky witnessed the entire massacre by Wenda, but she couldn't do anything except run from the claws of the cold-blooded cat, although Pinky deeply wanted to avenge her loved one. In reality, she couldn't. She was too weak to face Wenda. And then Wenda used a brick to smash Pinky's entire face. The crueler part was that Wenda didn't let Pinky die. Now, Pinky must live with 2 great pains: loneliness without Oren by her side, and the loss of her former appearance. Feeling so sorry for Pinky's fate, the videographer decided to look for her, hoping to help the poor singer. But while searching, the videographer unexpectedly ran into Durple. It seemed that Durple had also been infected by the disease, forcing the videographer to hide immediately. While hiding from Durple, the videographer saw Ratty's body hanging from a tree. The one who did this was none other than Lime. Although Lime regretted killing Ratty by accident, Lime couldn't successfully commit suicide. Now, Lime has turned into a madman. He wanders aimlessly with an extremely terrifying, distorted face. In episode 4, we finally learn that the person filming this entire video is Gray, the one considered the most cowardly of all the Sprunkies. Gray is the one who witnessed all the tragedies caused by the strange disease, but the only thing Gray could do was film the video and run away. However, Gray was still caught by Wenda and had his face scratched apart. Yet what Gray saw was actually just a nightmare. After seeing Ratty's body hanging at the end of episode 3, Gray fainted in the grass and then dreamed of Wenda scratching his face off. Everything Gray had seen was just a nightmare, but in reality, many of his friends had been killed, and he witnessed almost all of their deaths. Yet, Gray couldn't do anything except run away. This, in fact, is scarier than the nightmare he Weiss just had. In Gray's subconscious, everything that's happening right now is his fault. Because of his cowardice, he couldn't help anyone, and that haunting thought is slowly eating away at his mind. And eventually, it leads Gray to Tunner's house, where he finds Tunner's gun and decides to use it to end his life. But just as he's about to pull the trigger, a mysterious figure suddenly appears and talks to Gray. The figure is none other than Black, the most dangerous character in the Sprunki universe. He's also the one behind all the tragedies that have occurred. Black says that the disease everyone is infected with is actually a gift, one that helps people feel happier. And he tries to convince Gray to accept the disease. But after witnessing so many painful events caused by this strange disease to his friends, Gray firmly rejects Black. Immediately after his rejection, Gray uses the gun to shoot Black, but his shot misses. This means Black is still alive, and Gray has just angered a very dangerous person. At this point, the content of the analog horror Sprunki series comes to a temporary stop. In episode 5, the main antagonist of Sprunki, Black, reveals himself. Based on what he says, we can confirm that the disease infecting the Sprunkies is caused by Black. The so-called disease isn't a virus. It's the manifestation of the dark side of every individual. To put it simply, Black has manipulated the darkest parts of each Sprunki character and has infiltrated their minds to push these dark traits, making them grow stronger and burst out. For Simon, people generally see him as a friendly and humorous guy. But deep down, Simon is quite selfish and greedy. Black has taken advantage of this flaw in Simon and made Simon view Brad as food, causing Simon to forget his humanity, his friendship, and attack Brad in a cold-blooded manner. As for Wenda, on the outside, she always presents herself as a friendly singer who's easy to approach and get along with. But the truth is, Wenda's actual nature is the opposite. Deep down, she's always envious of everyone, especially Pinky, who not only has beauty, but also a beautiful love story. As for Wenda, despite being a famous singer, she always feels lonely. Actually, it's not that Wenda is lonely, it's that she's greedy and wants everything. Taking advantage of Wenda's evil nature, Black has fueled her negativity, making it grow stronger, and soon, it began to take over Wenda's good side, leading her to attack those she envies. As for Lime, he's much more pitiful compared to Wenda and Simon. In the other two cases, Black pulled out the worst sides of their subconscious, but in Lime's case, Black took advantage of Lime's weakness. Because of an unpleasant memory with Ratty, Lime began to develop an invisible fear of this character. However, under normal circumstances, Lime would just avoid Ratty or not want to interact with him. But with Black's interference, Lime's fear was amplified into hatred. Lime can no longer control the fear inside him, and that fear grows so strong that it turns into hatred and anger toward Ratty, leading him to act brutally against those who caused him fear. In short, all the tragedies in Sprunki stem from the characters themselves. If they didn't have these dark thoughts or negative sides, Black wouldn't have been able to manipulate them. As for Gray, he wasn't manipulated by Black, even though Gray is a coward. In my opinion, this is because cowardice doesn't reflect evil thoughts, so Black couldn't control him. If we look at it fairly, cowardice doesn't directly harm others. It only affects the person himself. It's not like Simon's greed, Wenda's jealousy, or Lime's hatred. Those traits all pose a significant risk to those around them, but Gray's cowardice only torments himself. In the end, even though Black is an incredibly powerful and manipulative figure, he still couldn't influence Gray. But through Gray, the lesson we learn from this character isn't to encourage weakness, but rather, Gray serves as a mirror for all of us to become strong and brave, to face difficulties head on. As you saw when Gray dared to face Black and confronted all the fears from the past, he managed to overcome them. Alright, that's all for my analysis of analog horror Sprunki. Based on this series, we can understand many hidden corners of the Sprunki story. Although Black is a dangerous villain, ultimately each Sprunki character has their own version of Black inside them. It's just a matter of whether they have the courage and willpower to fight against it. What do you think about the story of Sprunki in this analog horror series? Leave a comment below and let me know. If you find this video interesting, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for always following and supporting Robin Cartoon. Goodbye, and see you in